You're listening to Immortal Works Flash Fiction Friday, Episode 34, Follow the Birds, by Rothe. She could hear Ihu crawling near the wall of their thatched hut as she lay quietly next to her father's bamboo throne. If he heard Heinway leave, he would send his sons to chase them down again. That's what happened last time she tried to sneak to the beach with him after dark, and they hadn't rendezvoused since. The gods told her father she would be a holy princess one day, and rule over a new kingdom. This was why he forbid her love for the lowly son of a taro farmer. Heinway didn't care, though. Since they played as children, Ihu claimed when he slept, the gods told him she was his destiny, and Heinway felt the same. They always knew they were meant to be. After the last beating, Ihu promised her things would change. "Tonight's the night I can finally tell you," he whispered through the braided palm leaves. She tapped them to signal she would come out as soon as she could. They met down the path, but walked hand in hand silently until they were further away. "I've been laying sleepless every night waiting for you to come. All I do is think about you and your big secret. So what is it?" "You'll see when we get there," Ihu told her. "Heinway!" Her father's voice carried through the warm night. "Hurry, to the beach!" Ihu shouted as they bolted off. When her feet hit the soft sand, she knew they were there, but had no idea how Ihu was going to avoid another beating. She followed him to where the waves were lapping around something in the water. Heinway couldn't tell what it was, but Ihu approached the large object and jumped on top of it. "I have created this for us. It is land that sits atop the sea, and it will take us to our new home," he said to her as he stood atop it proudly. Heinway laughed with disappointment. "This is your secret. It looks like the wall of someone's hut you've just thrown into the surf. I promise you, it's much stronger than that. It's made from thick bamboo, and I've strapped it together tightly," Ihu assured her as he jumped on it. "What if we get too far from land to swim back, and your contraption fails?" "You should run. My brothers will find me alone. They might kill you. Go now!" "This is only part of my secret, Heinway. After the last time, I sat battered on the beach by myself all night. He appeared to me then. He didn't talk to me while I slept. He was in front of me like you are right now. This being, he emerged from the sea in an enormous pearl, and when he exited, he was 3 times my height. It was hard to see his face because bright light surrounded his head, but I could hear his voice clearly. He told me he was the god of the heavens and sea, and he was there to set our destiny in motion. He told me how to build this thing he called a boat, and told me to bring you here when it was finished. If we board it and follow the birds, he promised me there is another island out there, and we will find it. This glowing giant promised it would be bountiful, with new crops and wildlife for our people to prosper. He said you would either accept your destiny and come with me, or reject it and I will pay with my life at your brother's hands," Ihu said from above her. She would have to take a leap of faith to join him on this suicide mission. But if she didn't, she would feel responsible for another beating. Heinway could hear the ruckus her brothers were creating in the jungle as they neared the beach. "Please, I promised him you wouldn't let me down," Ihu said with his hand reaching down. He was crazy, but she had to go, or her brothers might kill him this time. When the sun broke, they could see the white birds flying high above them. "I always knew the birds went somewhere," Ihu told her as they lay together watching the sun crest the sea. "You can stop now, Ihu. We both know the thought of any land existing beside our own is only fantasy. I know your story was a trick to spend the night with me, but we can only float endlessly out here for so long. You succeeded. I am here with you now. Let's enjoy our time together before we have to go back," Heinway told him as she twirled his hair. "You think I made this up. We aren't going back until we find our new home. Don't you see? This is our destiny. Even I couldn't dream this up. Building this contraption and finding a new garden for our people to flourish. When we do return home with our bounty from this new paradise, we will be considered heroes. Your father will have to respect us both as royalty." Heinway grinned and shook her head at Ihu's daydreams. She knew when they returned, her father would be happy she was alive, but Ihu would be severely punished for putting her in danger. Only Ihu would do something so crazy and risk so much to spend one night alone with her. That's why she loved him so much, but she worried what would happen when they returned to face her father. After they watched the sunrise, Heinway was about to suggest they head back when she saw it. In the direction the white birds were flying, it emerged from the water. A massive pearl glistened in the sun as it broke the surface and flew into the air. It sped toward their raft, circled them quickly, and flew straight into the sky until it was gone from sight. This has been Flash Fiction Friday. If you would like to submit your flash fiction under 1,500 words, you can email it to submissions@immortal-works.com.